see a lot of Key Sanity races essentially be all dungeons to some extent anyway, being forced to at least dip into a lot of dungeons, dip in the castle tower. But in all dungeons mode, you actually have to full clear those. So having that last small key to get to the boss, or the big key to unlock the door, you can't just take a peek in and check the first couple chests. So we might see double dips, triple dips, maybe the rare quadruple dip of a dungeon.
It's entirely possible. But so to start, we got a small key to Pod in Link's house. Now
Pretty
again,
decent small key to start off with.
And again, we were assured a sword, and by golly, there's a sword.
Well, I do like when the rules are consistent, at least.
And there's the Hyrule Castle small key, which is interesting because, to be honest, I've never run a standard mode Key Sanity, so I was assuming that the small key had to be somewhere in the first part to be able to get through the escape part, but it just dawned on me seeing that it actually could have been in Link's house or in the Uncle Tunnel.
Yeah, that's a good point. I hadn't considered that. I wonder if it would say, this dungeon, if you had found it actually in the escape sewers.
It
either
does.
way, though. Okay, yeah. It has to be in only a few locations, because we can't soft lock ourselves due to key logic this early in the game.
Yeah, you'll see it when they pick up the big key from the ball and chain guard. It will say, "Oh, look, it's the big key to this dungeon."
Yeah, that one I've seen. I just wasn't sure about the small key, but yeah, 3 bombs in the first chest. That's a really nice find for standard mode. Essentially, what you're doing in standard mode is just bomb farming and pure NMG execution, and we can cross bomb farming off the list now. It's an execution game trying to save valuable frames on each of these screens.
Absolutely. And there's the map to Turtle Rock.
Yeah, the maps and compasses in Key Sanity, are obviously a little bit less valuable than normal, but in all dungeons mode, I'd say it's probably even a step down from that, because you're going to have to clear every single dungeon. The only thing that it could possibly matter for is if you need to go into GT looking for progression items to clear a pendant dungeon.
Yeah, to the earlier point about it saying that, it's for this dungeon, that actually wasn't there in version 28 when we did the Key Sanity tournament, and that confused a lot of people when you were like, wait, where's the text? What key is this for? Oh, wait, this is for this dungeon. So they added that text in there.
That makes a lot of sense. I mean, if you're opening that door, you absolutely need that key. So most people, I'm sure, have probably figured it out. Mikan is just maybe a few seconds ahead at this point. We had a little desync that we just corrected. But I gotta tell you though, I've seen a few people use the mouse cursor sprite that shadyforce is using, and that is a difficult sprite to use. I mean, I guess if you base your bomb jumps and everything off the shadow, it might be a little bit easier because you can just very clearly see that shadow. But I find it really annoying. It's got some pretty funny sprites though.
I mean, to be honest, when I've been practicing my bomb jumps, I've trained myself using the shadow, because that's more consistent than if you use one sprite versus a different one. But the one thing you do have to be careful with that is that there are some sprites that cover the shadow. Like I think the vitreous eyeball is one of them. So you just have to be careful with that.
Yeah, that's understandable. I tend to play with the same sprite all the time, but there are some game modes that will randomize your sprite every time you take damage or take a death. So, if you're a really hardcore player, it could pay to practice on a variety of sprites.
And there we got an Aga Tower small key. So the one thing to bear in mind with Key Sanity, beyond the fact that it's actually all dungeons, and so we have to kill Aga 1 anyway, is that now because all of the dungeon items are in the item pool with everything else, that means that Aga Tower actually does have 2 item locations. So you think, normally in a normal randomizer, you think, I'm only going to Aga 1 if I need it for Dark World access. You may need to go there to get the items.
Absolutely. But, like I said, it's an all dungeon seed, so if you do go for the items, it's not going to slow you down too much. It probably will give you a little bit more of an incentive to actually go there if you get that second castle tower key and the lamp and everything's in logic, because you're going to have to do it anyway. But that is one of our 2 keys, so we can get the first chest, but we can't get to the second chest.
Yeah, we would need we would need the lamp and either the cape or the master sword. We need the cape or the master sword to get in, and then we need the lamp to get to the second one logically.
Right, I was thinking, I'm talking only about keys.
Alright, there's a GT small key. And now that we're through the standard mode, the world is the runner's oyster. Actually, with Aga Tower, you just need the 1 key to get to the 2 items. It's only the second one that you need to get up to Aga. Because the first chest isn't behind a locked door, and then you get through the 1 locked door, that gets you to floor 3, and then there's the second one, and then the key there gets you up to floor 4.
Ah, okay. I stand corrected. Thank you.
No worries. I'm here to help. We got bomb.
Yeah, that's
bomb
a
drop
nice,
tree pole. Yeah.
Nice prize there.
We got Power Glove and Lost Woods. Sorry, we're stepping on each other, man.
No, it's fine. I was just lamenting that I really do miss the bomb and arrow capacity upgrades in version 30, especially when you see so many bombs from a tree pool like that.
This just in, Canis Samaria is on the lumberjack ledge.
Yeah, that's very good game knowledge there. And only Shady went up there, I think.
Yeah, I've seen it change. I see a lot of runners have changed. Where I think this time last year, a lot of runners would almost by habit go check lumberjack ledge on their Kakariko tour. But now you'll see some runners wait until they have the boots and the means to kill Aga 1 before they even check lumberjack.
Yeah, I think that generally it seemed to have changed in the bracket stage of the spring tournament. Knowledge was really kind of the meta at the time, and then it just changed into, well, I can't get it, so I don't really need to know what it is. You still see some people go up there and get that knowledge, and it does make the difference in certain seeds, but you can take it either way.
All right, so we got the fire rod in the Blind's Hut. We also got another pod key, which pod is notorious for its keys in that there are 6 of them total, and having 2 already is going to certainly help us if we need to go into pod early.
Yeah, we also picked up the big key to Skull Woods. Not required to complete the dungeon, so all that does is give us access to the Skullwood's big chest.
And there's the ice rod in the well, so even though it's all dungeons, we still are contractually obligated to say Turtle Rock Pendant.
Yeah, it kind of makes me feel like I wish this wasn't an Randomizer seed now. We're getting the Trinex starter package. But no, unfortunately, can you do a Key Sanity boss shuffle Randomizer?
You can. We don't allow it in this tournament, but it is possible.
Well, this tournament it already has hard mode. It already has the group the brackets are going to add expert difficulty. I think a Key Sanity Randomizer expert difficulty would be pushing it.
Yeah, we still need to make this entertaining for the viewers. We don't want to be here for a 5-hour marathon.
Yeah, and not kill the participants. That's always, you know, any sport that wants longevity has to not kill the participants.
Mm-hmm. The one thing I will say as Neustria, I think that's how I pronounce that name, is saying in chat, you know, with that Cane of Samaria being on the Lumberjack ledge, we're not going to be able to get into Turtle Rock until we kill Aga 1.
Absolutely. It's kind of good news seeing that item up there, though. I mean, we need the boots in order to get that item, and we need the lamp in order to clear Castle Tower. So we know we're going to get a fairly early boots, a fairly early lamp, both items that are just really nice to have. So I actually like when I see a progression item up on the ledge.
And we saw $50 on the race game. You'll see a lot of runners in Key Sanity will YOLO the race game because there's a bigger chance of an item being there than it is in the normal randomizer. But we did also get that shovel in the escape, so Mikan's going to pull it out, strike the earth, just bombs.
Yeah, and shadyforce continuing on the same route, Southern Dark World. He's only a little bit behind because he did that extra lumberjack check. That's extra game knowledge. We might see if he picks up the ability to full clear Aga Tower. We might see him make that play early. Maybe Mikan will search a little longer for alternative Dark World access. I think it's good to have that game knowledge when you can get it. In a situation like this, it might make a little bit of a difference.
Shady electing to save and quit before moving on, and we'll go to South Shore like Mikan is.
This is probably pretty close to a wash on time savings if you have the glove.
And we got soggy bombs at the dam.
And they still work, though.
Surprisingly.
Yeah. They're plastic explosives or something. So coming up, we got a nice item-dense location here that Mikan's going to be checking. Mini Moldorm Cave. 5 items in here. This is usually a really nice early game treasure trove or absolute garbage. Doesn't seem to be anything in between.
All right, we got
treasure
boots.
Boots by itself makes that a 10 out of 10 Mini Moldorm Cave, and I'll disagree with anybody who says less. Gotta go fast. So the boots makes this Ice Ride Cave check a lot more appealing. You can get up here very quickly, and even without the Moon Pearl, I will not be surprised at all if Mikan decides to take advantage of those boots and buffer a water walk coming out of here to do at least one of the water area checks.
Well, there's the flippers.
Well, you can still buffer that water walk and save some time, but he opted not to do it.
I think you need don't you need the Moon Pearl to buffer that to get the water walk anyway?
No, you can do it with just the boots. It's a good method to get into the waterfall cave if you don't have the Moon Pearl. You can use the boots to store that to run on the water and avoid having to go in and out of the waterfall cave. But it also lets you just get to the hobo a lot quicker.
Yeah, I guess I might have gotten confused with the fake flipper though, because I know fake flippering you don't need the Moon Pearl, but the way to at Waterfall Cave to get into the water walk state from a fake flipper, you need the Moon Pearl.
Yeah, it looked like shadyforce was gonna set it up, but unfortunately he just fell and lost a little bit of health there. Yeah, no, typically, yeah, the fake flipper with the moon pearl will let you swim into the waterfall cave. The way it works is if you exit the waterfall cave and you have the moon pearl, then the game assumes that you have the flippers. Or actually, no, anyway, it lets you, yeah, and then lets you walk back in. But if you don't have the moon pearl and you use the boots trick, then you can you'll already be walking, just and you can go in the cave, get the items, and also come out.
So we did see that Hobo did have an empty bottle a bottle with a B torp. Well, with all that talk of the moon pearl, there it was in Waterfall Cave.
That's still pretty good. Flippers leading to immediate progression. I mean, the bottle opens up the sick kid back in Kakariko. Moon Pearl, obviously, it's going to be needed for all our Dark World access. We can't do Zora yet. Neither player did a Houlihan or did any significant rupee farming. But Mikan does check the ledge and sees it's just a big 20. So other than Zora, he's done all the water area stuff now.
And I imagine Mikan is probably going to check Bonk Rocks here. And he was the one that did not check Aga. It wouldn't surprise me if he goes ahead and now check Lumberjack Ledge. I wouldn't be surprised if now that he has the boots, if he goes there.
Definitely. That is a standard play. Thieves Town Big Key. That's a nice one to get because Thieves Town is one of the, the more easily completed early dungeons. So correct me if I'm wrong, the Thieves Town Big Key will let us get everything except for the big chest, which is locked behind one small key.
That is correct.
Excellent.
Yeah, the one thing once you run Key Sanity a few times, the one thing you learn is that certain keys are important and certain keys aren't, as we're seeing Mikan do a sequence break up to Death Mountain. Thieves Town, for example, is important because you need the big key to get through beyond the first 4 chests. Pod has all those keys. Swamp Palace, the small key. You can't even get into Swamp Palace without said small key. But places like Skullwoods, Ice Palace, Mire, most of the keys that you would need are in the dungeon themselves under the pots. So, like, if we find like a Skullwoods, Ice Palace, Mire small key, it's really not that big of a deal because you're able to do it without them.
Absolutely. And some of those, you also have to take into consideration what a player is able to execute and what the logic requires you to execute. Ice Palace probably being the best example of that, where you're supposed to get, certain keys for, small key, big key to complete the logic. But if you can do the bomb jumps, you can complete that entire dungeon without a single key, just leaving the big chest item behind.
Yeah, and to your point, the old man had the Hera small key, which right now we can only get the first 2 items. With that small key, we can get to the coffee break room, but still waiting on the big key to get up the tower. And the GT big key, one of the most important items in Key Sanity, we got that hint saying it's in Desert.
Yeah, that was a really good sequence break for Mikan there because that also gave him that Thieves Town small key. If he picks up the hammer, he'll be able to full clear that dungeon. Shadyforce, meanwhile, does get the Titan's mitts. I think that was the back of Sashirala's hut. So we now have Dark World access. Mikan go in the same place, but having that Thieves Town small key, will let him do the entire Thieves Town dungeon if we pick up that hammer en route.
Mm-hmm. Although I've had so many seeds where you get Titan's mitts for Dark World access, and then if you have the means to get into Swamp Palace, the hammer's in that Swamp Palace chest. If we find Mirror soon, I may be wanting to go to Swamp Palace. However, Shadyforce, with that Fire Rod, is going to be heading into Skullwoods, and we've got the big key. We've got the small key, so this certainly is 7 items you can get for certain.
Yeah, Shady Force, I think, taking the intentional death warp there, giving us the nice blue screen of death animation. Uh, took some damage off the stall coming in here. 3 hearts, 20 minutes in. The seat has been very, very stingy on the health. But that is hard mode for you.
Yeah, that's the other part of the Skullwoods play I was talking about is, well, you still have to kill Mothula on 3 hearts green mail.
Yeah, that's a tough call. Coming in here to at least clear out the items makes a lot of sense. I don't know if Shady Force is necessarily going to want to tackle a fighter sword 3-heart Mothula. Might come back for that later. Probably not worth the time.
Especially when it's all dungeons.
Exactly. You're going to come back here later. At the minimum, though, there's a lot of locations he can check. He can even check the chest in the back of Skullwoods if he really wanted to go that deep into the dungeon. It doesn't... You know, I don't know if he's going to go that far. But Mikan is doing Eastern, and without the lamp, you know, we can easily sequence break that first room. No reason to go any further than that into the second room, though.
Yeah, we should also point out with that pinball room, even in Key Sanity, because of the potential of the soft lock and needing to save and quit, the Key Sanity randomizer still puts a Skullwood small key in the pinball room.
These Gibdos are really giving Shady Force some trouble here. Voids the Wall Master and finally gets that statue on the switch. Just 3 hearts. This is just really, really tough to see, but he's well rewarded with that hammer.
Oh, there goes my prediction of it being in Swamp Palace.
That's nice. I would imagine that, you know, coming out of Skullwoods, he'll probably just continue into Village of Outcasts and Thieves Town. At which point, you know, not having that small key might be a disadvantage that could benefit Mikan from the sequence break that he did earlier, picking up that Thieves Town small key up on Death Mountain. Mikan also having... Sorry.
I think he was trying to set up a Death Warp, but couldn't get damage boosted through, but he just saved and quit, so he wasn't going to do that.
Yeah, well, he got the item out of the chest, and that's as far as he can go in the dungeon. But yeah, he did have a little trouble damage boosting there. 4 hearts is what most people are used to when they come into that dungeon. 3 hearts if you skip Sankheart in an NNG route.
Speaking of which, Shady did get that... Wait a minute, was that a vanilla cape I just saw?
That was vanilla cape. So I think Shady took an overworld death, unfortunately. I might have missed that.
I think he saved and quit after getting the bridge chest in the back of Skullwoods.
Oh, okay. That's pretty far to walk back out of. That makes sense. Skullwood's compass is all the sick kid's holding today.
With a lot of this early Skullwoods stuff, it certainly would point you in the direction of Skullwoods to get the hammer.
Yeah, you know, and one thing to keep in mind, and it's something that, you know, you have to play a lot of seeds to really appreciate, and it's also something that wasn't in the initial version of Sanity, is the fact that the maps and the compasses are all logically available prior to completing any dungeon. So even though those items themselves don't have tremendous value, their placement can give you a hint on where, you know, you may be intended to go next.
Mm-hmm. And with Key Sanity, one thing that's also there is that the music is now randomized. Oop, we got a D in Thieves Town. So because of that, we're hearing pendant music right now. That does not guarantee that that Thieves Town is actually a pendant. It's also good for me, because I really like the Light World dungeon music, so you get it more often in Key Sanity.
Yeah, I love all the music in this game. Even after all these years, I still love the soundtrack. But yeah, shadyforce, having already picked up the bow and the first shield, Thieves Town is paying off very nicely. He of course will not be able to full clear the dungeon without that small key that Mikan got. But Mikan is hopefully he'll go into Skull Woods and pick up that hammer.
Yeah, he went up and did a check on Bumper Cave since he had the cape, and just found 10 arrows, so noped out.
And shadyforce unfortunately took a death here in Thieves Town, but especially with the boots, it's not hard to recover from a death in the first half of this dungeon. This is really brutal. Even in hard mode, this is less health than I would expect by this point.
Mm-hmm. And the one thing we're gonna have to be cognizant of here is that Mikan did get the Thieves Town small key up on Death Mountain, right?
Yes, he sequence broke for that. It was in Spectacle Rock Cave.
So, even though we do need to be on the lookout for the fact of whether there's an item in that Thieves Town big chest, right now, logically, we can't get there.
Absolutely. It's more of a a time save that I'm talking about. Like Mikan will not have to go back there. Shadyforce might double dip that. Less of an issue in all dungeons, Sanity Seed, where both of these players are going to double dip a couple locations that the other one hasn't. So even if Mikan saves a few, a minute here, he'll probably lose it somewhere else.
Should also point out, while shadyforce was shadyforce went a little early and the bomb didn't finish detonating to break the floor. But we did find a Turtle Rock small key, and Turtle Rock is another one of those dungeons that you need to make sure you have the keys to get in. You need at least 3 of them if you're going to orphan the vanilla big key chest, but if you want a full clear, you're going to need all 4.
So we have, I'm looking at the, we have 2 pod keys that we've seen. We do have the bow, so that lets us do more in pod now. At what point do you think the players would go into Palace of Darkness? How many keys before they make the first step?
Well, let's update one thing real quick, because chat pointing out something I missed. Mikan left Skullwoods without getting the hammer, so he doesn't have it right now.
Oh.
Okay, so we just saw the big key to pod there. So, let's do this. Let's watch the blind fight, and then I'll get into the theory on pod, because that there's a bit there to digest.
All right, that's a good idea. We'll do that. I thank you to chat for pointing that out. I just assumed he got it, having gone into Skull Woods, but that's a big thing.
Blind having his usual pun. And a very clean fight from shadyforce on blind. Gets a $20 for your troubles, and the first crystal of the game 29 minutes in. Okay, so Tiru, to go back to your thought about pod.
Right.
I want to preface this by saying that this is thinking about it from a runner standpoint and not from a logic standpoint, because logically, you pretty much need most of the keys before logic will dictate that you can do pod because of using the keys wrong. There are 6 keys in pod. And Shady Force, you missed a small key there. You may want to get that.
Yeah, he's going back in.
So there are 6 keys in pod. That's the Desert Palace key, which will help us because we know GT Big Key is in desert. If you can do it right, you actually only need 4 of them. You can avoid 1 if you hammer jump and bomb jump to do the dark maze and avoid a key there. You can avoid another one if you have the bow and go through the bow lock side and complete and never open the front door that has a locked small key. So at this point, with having the bow and the hammer, pod would be looking really appetizing to me because you can save the key on the front door. You can pretty much check everything except vanilla big key chest and the harmless Hellway chest and Helmassar. So there's a lot of items that are open now. Even though we only have 2 keys, the bow helps us in preserving the keys that we have.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that thinking. That's how you typically see Palace of Darkness early dips in my experience. When it comes to the hammer jump in people who were in the standard mode tournament, when that was their main gameplay, that wasn't a very common move. But ever since people started playing Key Sanity, I think that to be a serious runner in Key Sanity, that almost seems to be like a requirement in order to save that key. So I see everybody do it in these tournaments. The other thing to keep in mind is, of course, like you were talking about, this is from a runner's perspective. Logically, we need the lamp for all these dark rooms, but the runners are going to have no problem doing these rooms without that lamp. Shady Force picking up another pod small key there in Hype Cave,
as well as the Quake medallion. And actually also found another GT small key. And the thing is, now that we know that from the hint that the GT big key is in the desert, there's 4 GT small keys in the pool. You really only need 1 of them because you just need the 1 to go up and run the gauntlet, and then you can get the second one off the mini Helmassar. So knowing the GT big key is outside of the dungeon, we've got all the small keys we're going to need for GT.
Yeah, those GT small keys are very generous. Shady Force here, I like going in the pod because if you use the routing that you talked about, you can get every item short of, Helmassar. That's one option. Or you can clear the dungeon and leave the vanilla big key chest or the harmless Hellway chest. But they also have the bow, so they can also pick off Eastern, while they're here. Or actually, no mirror rather. So they can't route that in, unfortunately, but they can do Eastern after this if they want to.
Daring Retreat in chat also pointing out what I was saying earlier about GT, that you can still steal the pot key from the left side. So you actually need 0, but it's just always it's always comforting to know you have the 1 in your back pocket. And Ravis 10 also reminding me that I'm thinking of my usual Key Sanity logic, and I'm forgetting that, oh wait, this is all dungeons. We may need to go into GT to find pendant dungeon stuff.
Yeah, that's definitely a possibility. I like all dungeons. All dungeon seeds, they seem to remove a lot of the randomness. A Key Sanity does that, by itself, but all dungeons just adds, just exponentially even more. Makes this an execution game. Mikan, that's normally the case. Mikan, unfortunately, just finished his Skullwoods routing a little bit too soon and missed out on that hammer. That's definitely going to end up costing a decent amount of time.
Yeah, but because he has the flippers, it's still logically he is able to get over here.
Yeah, and with three small keys, he could do everything except, Helmasaur King. Yeah, it looks like he's making that pod play. This is not a problem with the frog. Kiki will eat that frog, like the little monster that he is. So you can do this.
Yeah. So, bye frog, hello monkey. Now, the one thing with Mikan about what we were talking about needing only 4 keys if you do it right, and we're seeing the hammer, we're getting the bomb there to set up the hammer jump. The problem with Mikan's routing is that because he doesn't have the hammer, he can't use the hammer pegs. There's mirror in pod. He can't hit those hammer pegs, so if he wants to go further, he's going to have to burn a key on the front door.
Right. Yeah. I was just thinking with mirror and being in the back there, but yeah, that doesn't make a difference. That's just for avoiding a death warp, not continuing. He goes
sorry.
through the door. Sorry, no, I'm sorry. I was just thinking out loud. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I'm just saying, what I was trying to say was I saw one item in the dark maze not light up, so I just want to, if Shady Force pulls down his menu, I want to see if we got something there. But yeah, this is the hammer jump that we were talking about earlier, and now you can avoid the door for the dark maze. We also have blue mail that we found in the vanilla big key chest of pod.
That's nice, being at 6 hearts and 5 hearts. It's not going to double your effective health, but it will make a difference. That's a pretty useless hint. Map requires the hammer. You don't even care about the maps.
Not really. They're really only useful in Key Sanity for knowing what are pendants and what are crystals.
Yeah, Mikan is to take some intentional hits off these berries here, setting up a death warp, getting hit by that last spike because he's not going to be able to, get past these moles, just like you were saying, Jex.
Okay, and Shady is, again, as you see, taking the time to go through the bow lock side to save that key.
So, correct me if I'm wrong here, but the way that I'm counting the items and the keys, Mikan will he'll be able to go to the back, he'll be able to get everything except the Harmless Hellway one?
I think so.
Alright, so they'll both be coming out of this dungeon with the mirror.
Yeah. He'll be able to get the mirror. If I assume he can hammer jump, so he'll be able to do that. He won't be able to do Harmless Hellway, which didn't have, I think it had a key, but I don't remember it being a key of importance. Oh, that was a Master Sword we missed in that dark room.
Yeah, I did not notice that on Shady Force's side, but Jixon did because it's on the tracker. So, Jixon, you have a better eye than I do.
Shout out to our tracker, Jixon.
So Shady Force coming through this loop again. Mikan sets up for the bomb jump. So this is the run on Helmasaur then on Shady Force's side, I imagine.
He picked up the blue mail. Yeah, he's going for Helmasaur.
Alright, so Map of Thieves Town was in the bottom Dark Maze chest. Maybe we'll see what's. We'll notice what's in this top one. Oh, it was our piece. Okay.
Okay. What did Shadyforce skip? Because Blue Mail was on Vanilla Big Key chest. Did he skip Harmless Hallway too?
It would have been Harmless Hallway or the Vanilla Big Key one, which he did, like you said. Yeah, so I guess he did skip Harmless Hallway.
I could have swore I saw him go there, though.
I don't know where else he could have saved a key. I mean, unless they picked up a pod key that I didn't notice.
Oh, Jixon, our tracker, reminding us that the Blue Mail was in the arena chest.
Which one's the arena chest?
The one in the basement. Where the Stout Kid heads are.
The first chest?
Yeah, no, the one right below the Vanilla Big Key chest where you drop down.
Oh, okay, yeah, all right, that one. The invisible one.
Alright, so Shadyforce is going to take on Helmassar. Mikan went back for Jeremiah. Brought him home this time and just gets a big 20 for doing that for him.
I think the developers should put some like text in here, like you abandoned me. I had to walk all the way back here through the dark world.
All right, Helmassar down. Magic Bat has the big key to Ice Palace, and Pod was a crystal. So yeah, the big thing right now is Mikan missed the hammer in the Vanilla Big Key chest in Skullwoods, and that that's kind of the critical thing right now that we're missing.
Yeah, he sequence broke up to Death Mountain, so he got both items that he could do up there. He did everything in Pod that he could do with the keys that were available to him. He could go back and do Eastern, but that would just be to clear it. Oh wow, that flute opens up the Misery Mire sections. Those are some more checks that I'll make. That's Mire, that's Desert now that he can get into. Which will take him a little bit further away from that hammer.
Yeah, Mire and Desert are now certainly open with the flute in the lunchbox. I was actually starting to think where we might want to go next, and I actually would be... this is going to sound weird to say, but I actually think Ice Palace might be a little intriguing also.
I mean, definitely on Shady's Force's side, that's definitely a possibility. Mikan, without the hammer, might be a little reluctant to do it.
Yeah,
if he does, that'll be a double dip.
Yeah, I think to your point, I think Mikan's best move here is probably to do Desert Mire, because you can get to both of them with the flute. But with Shadyforce having the hammer, and again, Ice Palace is one of those that, I mean, you would like the big key for the big key chest, but there's 7 items there, and without the lamp giving us the ability to get up to Death Mountain right now, that'd probably be the only other thing I would do, is maybe a sequence break up to Death Mountain. Or, actually, as Mikan just reminds me, since we have the flute, it's not a sequence break.
Right, but without the hammer, he can't get to the right side. So this will be a Tower of Hera check. We have the small key for Hera, so we can get to the basement, and we can check the first chest and then the first open item, but we can't get upstairs. Oh, big key up on the Spectacle Rock. This is the one we haven't seen.
Speaking of big keys, we saw the desert big key on Catfish.
Ooh, okay, I missed that. That's an important find.
So putting everything that both runners have together, if shadyforce, that was the Hera big key.
That was the Hera big key. Very conveniently placed.
All right. Well, there once was a fish named Zora. He gives you flippers and vanilla. And Rando, he sucks. For $500, we did the stupid trek for a compass.
Oh, and there's our second Castle Tower small key in Tower of Hera.
Armors and Palace of Darkness. Thanks, game. We already got it.
Got on the Turtle Rock B key. So Mikan not... Is he skipping the basement? He's coming back to the basement. So, I mean, Mikan, he has a lot of options that, other than that, you know, going back to Skullwoods, because it was the middle chest in Skullwoods that he skipped. Obviously, we're up here in Hera. This can be a full clear. Makes absolute sense to do this, but he's not going to be able to do anything else on Death Mountain unless he finds the hook shot in here. I could see him making that Ice Palace play. You know, I think we'll check the Mire Shed, Checkerboard Cave, the desert items first. But he could go in the Ice Palace looking for the hammer and have to double dip that. Going all the way back to the middle of Skull Woods is, I'd say, a low probability play.
I get that, but the only thing I would say to counter that is we have the means to full clear Skullwoods now, and because it's all dungeons, you gotta clear Skullwoods at some point. And I think as we're seeing on shadyforce's side, 6 Hearts Blue Mail, you're feeling a little more comfortable with Mothula that maybe, just maybe, Mikan might say, hey, you know, I'm good on health. Why don't I go back to Skullwoods and take care of Mothula? But that would be more for trying to get the dungeon boss finished as opposed to checking more items.
That's definitely a possibility. They have the they have the Master Sword now as well. They had Fighter last time they were up here. But they... shadyforce also has the hammer, so you can use the hammer during the Mothula fight, and that can make a little bit of a difference. I am surprised that we have seen this little health. There's only 4 fewer heart pieces in hard mode than normal mode. With all the items, I thought they'd get a little bit more health by now. Maybe 8 by now.
All right. Well, Mikan is heading for Trolldorm while shadyforce heads for Mothula. And Mikan activated Hyper Trolldorm, but got him no problem.
Yeah, nice Moldorm fight, and a very valuable full heart container. Only 6 of those in a hard difficulty seed.
And Skullwoods was a pendant, and Hera was a crystal. But to what we were talking about earlier, without that hammer in Skullwoods, that's the end of the Death Mountain line for Mikan. And he's going for Desert and Mire, as we were talking about earlier.
I think this makes a lot of sense. I don't think that he's checked a Genos Cave yet. There's the ledge. All the items in desert. This is a really, really fast checks, and they're all easy too. You don't have to fight your way up here.
We did see the Quake is needed for Mire, so we can open it. And there's a keys for Mire and Skullwoods, which, again, you can route without those small keys, so you're not really worried about those. For those that just joined us, Lumberjack Ledge, has Canis Samaria. So we do need AGA 1 for Canis Samaria. So, you know, we can get in. Mikan could get into Myra right now, but both of them know that this Kane is at Lumberjack, so you're not going to be able to finish it just yet.
So, given the fact that he's looking for the hammer, though, and you can clear out all of the chests in the front of Meyer, you know, everything but Vitreous, do you think it's worth dipping in there if you're searching for that hammer? He knows he can't complete it, but there's still items in here.
Yeah, I mean, you've got... The thing is, with this being Key Standing, it's a very item-dense location. You've got 6 altogether in Desert. You've got 8 total in Mire, 7 because we can't get to Vitreous. So that's 13 items, plus everything outside. So this is a very item-dense location. Boots and Mini Moldrum Cave. Thanks, game. We're running away from you because of that hint.
It does put the hint in a Boots locked location, so it's kind of at least a little bit useful. But yeah, Mikan, he's not. So he has the desert. Doesn't he have the desert small key? Or no, wait, where did we pick that up? Shadyforce picked that up, but Mikan didn't. So he came to the right hand side without stealing a key.
I know. I remember seeing it. I don't remember. Okay, the problem is Mikan's going the wrong way. He went to the right flute location, wrong way.
Yeah, and he didn't do any of the Misery Mire checks at all.
Yeah,
I forget what the Desert Small Key was.
He's now doing the rest of Flanctuary, probably Graveyard Ledge.
So a good question from the chat. You know, is it worth stealing the Desert Small Key from the back? That lets you get the 2 items on the right side of Desert. I think that's a decent play if it's not all dungeons and Desert is a pendant. Like if you know that you're never going to have to come back there. I think it has less of a value in this case. What do you think, Nick Sharfy?
I disagree, because for this reason. There's a lot of times, like, let's take Pod for an example, where we were talking about how you need 4 of the 6 keys. You find 4 of them, and then you accidentally burn one the wrong way. It could be a long time before you find the 5th one, and it could take you, it could cost a lot of valuable time. So with stealing the Desert Small Key, my problem with it is, okay, yeah, that helps you find items, but then if it takes forever to find the Desert Small Key in the item pool, and that takes you more and more time from going to kill Lamulus, like, that's how it could potentially backfire.
Well, I think we were actually saying the same thing there, because I was saying that if this was not all dungeons and it was like a pendant and you didn't think you'd ever have to kill Lanmo, then there might be some value in stealing it to get those 2 items.
Okay, I missed that part. Sorry.
Yeah, in this combination, I'd say it's pretty risky, because you're giving up the ability to clear a dungeon and finish the game for 1 extra item check. So Flute is in purple chest, so Shadyforce is getting that right now. Hammer is in the middle of the Skull Woods. This is good for Shadyforce because that hammer lets him complete all of the Eastern Death Mountain now, and he'll also pick up those Hera keys. Well, he doesn't have the Hera Small Key, but that was in Spectacle Rock. The Hera Big Key is on top of Spectacle Rock. Actually, I forget where the Hera Small Key was. Was that Old Man? That was Old Man.
Hera Small Key was Old Man. Big Key was Big Key was words.
That was on top of the rock.
Yes. Yes.
Right. Yeah, so he'll be able to full clear Hera as well, just like Mikan did, and get to the right side, the very, very item dense East Death Mountain. Everything but 3 chests and Hookshot Cave.
Yep. But ladies and gentlemen, at this time, to honor Hyrule, please join us for the playing of the National Spectac Anthem.
So Mikan is stealing that small key from Desert to get the right side items. He must be, or he's clearing the dungeon. No, he's clearing the dungeon.
Yeah, he's going for the boss. All right, the cursor is a cursin'.
So maybe he'll do that Mire dip now, because I mean he left Desert earlier, but he's back now, so he might be committed to the area.
And with that blue potion that Shadyforce picked up, well, he might be doing that too. He might just be doing that for safety, I think. Because usually you see runners pick up some potions before going to Ice Palace, but that may just be a safety play at this point.
Yeah, I mean he just picked up the flute, so getting up to the witch was a quick stop, and it was probably his first easy opportunity to get that safety potion. He did have quite a few deaths already, so it might feel more comfortable having some safety.
All right, just 10 arrows on Lamulus and a crystal.
All right. Well, I'm kind of I'm feeling Misery Mire, but he pulls out the flute, and yep, he does not want to do that.
Missed his flight, unfortunately.
Yeah, duck dodge there. Ooh, all right. This might be the play.
All right, Mikan. Once you lift that boulder, you need to go north. Come on, Mikan, go north.
And keep on going. Keep on going. Keep on going. Don't turn around.
There we go.
All right, Mikan is back on track. He's not gonna be very happy when he finds this item, but I can't really calculate how much time it's cost because he has been getting stuff done. The thing with these seeds is it's so hard to actually tell your progress. You have to go everywhere multiple times.
Especially with key sanity, because it's entirely possible that the way the key logic is set up that you're required to do double dips. I mean, we keep bringing up Mire in terms of like, well, we've got means to go to Mire, but we can't kill Vitreous. I mean, it's entirely possible that, like, you know, at this point, I think the key thing we're waiting on right now is we're waiting on the lamp to do Aga 1 to then be able to go get the Cane of Samaria at Lumberjack Ledge. It's entirely possible that lamp's in Mire.
Yeah, I mean, doing dark rooms and then doing Aga dark rooms, I think is, you know, two completely different things. That the Castle Tower dark rooms are pretty difficult just because most people don't have to practice them. They don't come up that often. I think it's a gamble to say, you know, the lamp is in Mire. I'm going to go ahead and do these dark rooms. Might be faster just to actually check Mire, but hey, if you're really good at doing it, then just go ahead and clear it.
Yeah,
this was Randomizer. I would say definitely don't go into dark rooms.
Oh yes, oh yes. I mean, I've practiced the dark rooms, and I'm not one of the top runners in the community, and I can do pretty much all of them except the Aga ones. Those Aga ones are brutal.
Yeah, to some extent, I mean, this is a lesser extent than mastering hammer jump is Aga dark rooms. I think disproportionately, key sanity players do tend to practice that, where standard players, will just assume that they're only ever going to do Aga if they need dark world access, and by that time they're probably down to 1 or 2 locations, and they know where the lamp is going to be. Key sanity, because of the fact that there can be items in Castle Tower, I think you're a little bit more likely to practice those dark rooms. So we could definitely see that this particular race. That is a Mothula kill for Mikan, and more importantly, a hammer pickup. So he's back on track.
And the thing is, a chat's also pointing out that with the fire rod, there are torches in those dark rooms, and like if you were getting desperate, it's within tournament rules where you could pull up a map and be like, okay, where were those torches? Because as long as you're not using like help from like somebody else, like if you want to go pull up a map, you can do it in a tournament. So,
well, I reject your premise that you need to be desperate to use the map. I pull up maps all the time.
Fair point.
But yeah, I missed that hint. Cash and Cash in Western Wing of. He's checking it 3 times just to be sure.
Pretty much, spoiler alert, left side swamp, you're not going to need to worry about it, bud.
Yeah, I think that's a hint that you want to double and triple check. I mean, is there really nothing on left side swamp? Let me double check that. So that's probably the most valuable hint. I mean, I guess in Key Sanity, the GT Big Key one is probably the most valuable, but in general, the left side swamp hint is very valuable. The items behind the fire rooms in Mire is also pretty useful. Left side swamp, though, that's my personal favorite.
All right, so while we were going over that, Mikan decided to go back to Death Mountain with the hammer. We just get a map in Spiral Cave. And the one thing that chat was pointing out, because someone was saying that right now, realistically, in terms of the pedestal, really is just kind of the Turtle Rock medallion. But there is one possibility that I want to go over after we see Paradox Cave, which we got a Tempered Sword in there.
Yeah, and that will be our last sword upgrade for the seed. Hard mode, Tempered is as far as we can get.
So we get another bottle with some red potion. Another Turtle Rock small key. So, since we were talking about pedestal stuff, we know Canis Samaria is at Lumberjack Ledge. We know Hookshot can't be there because of Swamp Palace. The one thing I will say, well, the pedestal's not completely dead yet, because if Ice Palace is the 3rd pendant, that means all 3 of our pendant dungeons don't need the lamp.
That's a possibility. I would say that in that case, though, that no one is going to actually pick up the ped.
Yeah, there's that. But
So
Mikan is going
to... have to wait till the credits roll to see what's on there.
True. Mikan is going to show us, though, what... It is Quake, so we have the medallion for both dungeons.
So with with 3 keys and the big key, we can get pretty far, but we don't have the Kingdom Samaria, so this is just going to be a hint check.
Yep. With 3 keys, you can get all the way to Trinex, but you have to orphan the vanilla big key chest. But as you said, we kind of need the Cane of Samaria to get in there in the first place.
Yeah, I see a lot, in the Key Sanity races that I've watched. I've seen players, they'll do a death warp and they'll do a save and continue to check that vanilla big key chest, and and then do a hard reset sometimes. I haven't seen that that often, but that was something that was starting to become more common, at least in the Key Sanity tournament. The Super Bunny Key having 320 rupees, and he did everything he can do in Hookshot Cave, and he's opting out of Spike Cave this trip.
So we got the 3rd bottle in Ice Palace. And I think Mikan's about to join Shady Force in Ice Palace.
Yeah, I mean it's a great play. If you have the big key, so you're going to be able to get every single item. Shady Force using the bomb jumps there to conserve small keys. Just a big 20. I think that's everything here for Ice Palace.
Still Ice.
Still there's 2 room.
Yep. Or no, I think Shady. Well,
he did that. What did I miss?
Oh, he's getting a. Wait, why didn't he just? Oh, right. Because in hard mode, anti-fairies, when you powder them, they become hearts, not fairies. So he was thinking to powder the anti-fairy, and then remembered it was just going to give him a heart. So then he went through and dropped down into that fairy fountain.
That makes sense. You also can't catch them in your bug net, which is another limitation of the hard mode. So Mikan is definitely gonna have a time with this boss fight, having picked up that tempered sword. But Shady Force should be able to do this.
Yep.
You definitely got to play it safe though.
Yeah, with the Master Sword, you can get Cold Stare in a corner, but you can't keep him there for long. Tempered Sword, Mikan will be able to do that farther. And as you see, another limitation of hard mode, you only get 7 hearts refilled on potions and only half of your magic.
Yeah, the 7 hearts really doesn't seem to be a problem. But I'm a little bit surprised he's not pulling out the fire rod to burn down these last puffs. I mean, yeah, I definitely recommend if you're a little bit under equipped on a cold stare fight, just to stay along the top. It makes it much easier to dodge those ice cubes. Shady Force having no trouble though, picking up the big key to Swamp Palace.
All right. So we still need the small key just to even get in.
Yeah, I do not like that Swamp Palace key being as important as it is. But I'm said every Key Sanity player ever.
We do have to point out that Ice Palace was a crystal, so Pedestal's officially, well, I say dead. Dead in terms of items. Eastern Big Key could be there. That means it's... At this point, we're down to Mire and Turtle Rock that we don't know what they are. So maybe Mire Big... Since we have the Turtle Rock Big Key, if Mire's dependent, or Mire's a crystal, maybe Mire Big Key. But in terms of go mode, we need Hookshot, we need Cane of Samaria, Eastern Big Key, Swamp Small Key, Mire Big Key, and I think we're pretty good from there.
I'm watching Mikan's route here. I guess if you only have one Ice Palace Small Key, using it to get to the iced tea room is probably better than using it to get quick access to the right side if you're able to do all the bomb jumps. It seems to be the route that both of them have chosen.
Yeah, I would concur with that. If you know how to do that, do the bomb jump in the hookshot room, then you're better to save the key for the iced tea room.
Shadyforce making his first trip up to Death Mountain after a long time, finding that valuable hint about the GT Big Key. He did get his Tower of Hair Small Key sequence break, which we actually got a hint for, that it was arrows or cash, some garbage. There was a hint that was the Turtle Rock hint, I think. And he'll get his big key for Hera as well, so he'll probably be doing Hera full clear.
Yeah, the only thing was, since Shadyforce full clear Desert, he already had the GT Big Key.
Oh, good point.
Mikan, okay, he had a green potion. I was about to say, he didn't have a full magic meter dropping in. But as you see, he gets Cold Stare in a corner, and he can pound away a Cold Stare, and down he goes, right in the corner.
Yeah, that's right there is your difference between a Master and Tempered.
Alright, we're an hour in, and we've had quite the show from Shadyforce and Mikan, so please be sure to give both of them follows on Twitch for the great race that they're putting on for us. And for those that are just joining us, so we know that the Cane of Samaria is on the Lumberjack Ledge. We've pretty much just been waiting for the lamp in order to be able to get through Aga 1 and then be able to get to Lumberjack for the Cane of Samaria. And pretty much the only dungeon we haven't been in at this point that we could go in is Mire.
Yeah, absolutely. We could do that first chest in Swamp. And that, that could have the lamp, or that could also have the Swamp Small Key. But that's about it. Mire and the first chest in Castle Tower as well is not blocked by dark rooms. But yeah, we're down to one-off locations.
Yeah, and Chad also reminding us, there was that Thieves Town big chest that both of them missed.
Yeah, both of them missed it for different reasons. Shadyforce missed it because he didn't have the small key yet. Mikan missed it because he didn't have the hammer. But they both did miss the chest.
No one's been inside Aga Tower either.
Right, we haven't even seen the first chest in there.
And actually, the lamp could be in that first chest.
Yeah, Shadyforce, I mean, he'll be up here on the mountain for a while. This is his first trip up here, so after Hera, he has all the East Death Mountain stuff. Mikan, getting the hammer so late, there's still some overworld checks that he has to, clear up. Shadyforce has already done all these things. He's done Pyramid. So we got a little bit of catch up here for a while. I, I, I don't know. I mean, I think logically, the Meyer play is probably your best bet. You're going to get how many items did you say there were? 7 before you meet the king?
7 without Vitreous.
Right.
And I think Mikan is finally going to do it. I think he's heading for Aga Tower. He may go ahead and just try to light the torches. With the fire rod, I should say.
First chest, big key to Eastern Palace.
Okay.
That's actually good to know, because there's a dark room in Eastern blocking our last item, so we're not gonna find our lamp back there.
Mikan forgetting about getting the second chest. Can't get there. You have to go up. There you go, bud. And there's another pod small key.
And I think that's he's picked up 2 pod small keys since his trip to pod. So now that he has the hammer, would definitely be worth, and the Eastern big key, and the mirror. I can definitely see going back and cleaning up those 2 dungeons.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, earlier, because of Mikan not getting the hammer in Skullwoods, he went to pod, but had to go through the front door. So he needs at least 5 keys to full clear pod.
Yeah, he has 5, and he did the hammer jump, so he could do a 4 now. So he's and then with that Eastern big key, both of those dungeons can be completed. Joe can't. And he's still holding that sword advantage, which is really coming in handy on these guards. The chain guards and the red guards, much easier to have tempered sword.
But that tempered sword is in Paradox Cave, which Shadyforce is about to pick up.
True. Yeah, probably only that Cold Stare fight was an important fight that Mikan actually had it. Aga, so blue ball guessing game.
Get your
go
guesses.
With 2 today.
Yeah, chat, get your guesses in. I'm gonna say, I'm gonna say 6.
Wow.
First one's always required to be a normal one. The next 3 are going to be random. So, not there. 1 blue ball.
There's 1.
2.
Oh, not looking good for me.
Here's the required lightning, and we spin again. So that's 3 to 2.
Come on, fireball. Fireball, 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 fireball. Yes!
4 to 2.
Show me the fireball. Ah!
3. 4.
Not my day.
So this will be 5 to 4 here.
6 is still possible.
There's 5.
5 all. Moment of truth.
There it is.
Oh.
Just 1 shy, but that was 5 blue balls. So we did have a number of people in chat guess 5. The first one was Darwin. We also had Magnohado, Drew a Conclusion, Lulled 12. So to all of you, congratulations. You win a whole boatload of nothing.
Yeah, you were closer than I was, though. Wow, I was being too generous today. So, no lamp there in Castle Tower. And Mikan does have the ability to pick up that Canis Maria now, though, but finishing off Pod and Eastern, despite having to do... Actually, you know, these dark rooms really aren't that bad. You have the fire rods for the Terrapin room and the back of Eastern. It's not that big a deal. Makes sense. Finish these off, get the last of your items, then go get that Keen, and most likely do Meyer after that. I would guess.
Yeah, I totally concur with that.
And the lamp is... I mean, we know the lamp is not going to be anywhere in Pod, because all the locations left in Pod are all lamp-locked locations. It doesn't mean it has to be in Meyer. It still could be, you know, first chest swamp, or another one-off location. But it's not going to be here in Pod and Eastern.
We're about to see Spike Cave from Shadyforce.
Yeah, this will be our first Spike Cave check. Mikan skipped this after doing all the Dark World stuff.
Silver arrows.
That's a nice find.
They won't particularly help us right now because in hard mode you can't use them until you get to Ganon.
So you got a question from chat. Can Lamp be in Ganon's tower?
No. With Pod being a crystal, it can't. Yeah, the thing is, the lamp can never be in Ganon's tower, as Shularoon is saying, because Eastern, Pod, Meyer, and Turtle Rock are the four dungeons that all need the lamp for dark rooms, and with only 3 pendants, you're guaranteed one of them is always going to be a crystal.
Yeah, chat has no confidence in me today. They're all pinging you with their questions.
Alright, and I think Shadyforce is finally going to do the Aga play.
We know it's this. You know, it's either Meyer, the front of Meyer, or Swamp probably. So if you can do these dark rooms, and you probably can, it's the play to make, avoiding that game intended double dip off of Swamp or Meyer.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to ask both of them. Were they waiting for the lamp to go to Ganon's tower, and did they finally just say, all right, I've had enough of this? Or was there other reasons why they chose to wait so long to go up Aga Tower?
Yeah, Mikan didn't seem to have too much difficulty with the dark room, and Shadyforce, he's making his way through. Shadyforce isn't even bringing out the fire rod.
Yep,
Oh,
there it is.
there it is. All right.
Having a little bit of trouble finding it, though.
There we go.
He's gonna need to get some magic, which there is. Those 2 pots on the left, one of them has I believe one of them has a magic decanter in it. Or he has a blue potion that works too.
Yeah, he's got enough money. Wow, he's really having some issues with these. This is a tough room. Might not be as practiced in doing this dark room, because it just is not that common as Pod and Eastern dark rooms are.
Meanwhile, Mikan is going to go ahead and finish up Eastern while he's here. So, at this point, we still need Hookshot which could be in GT.
Yeah, with Pendant Swamp, that's a possibility. It would not surprise me at all.
We also need the Meyer big key at some point.
Yeah, I think those 7 items in the front of Meyer are probably gonna have something of value.
Yeah, I gotta think Meyer's up next once both of them finish up what they're doing.
So I didn't see what Helmasaur had, but Mikan is about to finish off these Armless Knights. One thing you got to keep in mind, he doesn't have the silvers yet, but even if he did, he would use them in hard mode. You can only use the silvers on Ganon, so this would be a regular Armor's fight either way.
Yeah.
Helmasaur had a big 20. Thank you, chat.
And I also forgot, we still need Swamp Palace small key.
Yeah, we can get that first chest, but that's it.
And it's entirely possible it could be in its vanilla location.
If we don't find anything in Meyer, I mean, that's probably all that we have left.
And here we go. Wait a minute. Oh, wait. Wait a minute. Mikan, you're forgetting something.
What did we miss?
He still hasn't been to Lumberjack to get the Cane of Samaria.
Oh my god! Whoops. Yeah, I missed that. I missed that as well. So. Oh, not mandatory double dip.
And I think Mikan just realized it. He was like, wait.
Don't.
There you go.
I gotta try extra hard, not to make any jokes about the comm moderators, but that one is a little funny.
Huh? I'm missing something.
So I get down for Shadyforce and Cane of Samaria in hand from back to Misery Mire. It was almost a double dip of Misery Mire. After all that work, I mean, assuming the lamp is there, then after all that work of sequence breaking Agate Tower to avoid the double dip, that would have been unfortunate if he had the double dip after all.
And now that Agawon is down for Shadyforce, he will most likely likewise be getting that Cane of Samaria and following in Mikan's footsteps. So, key things we're still looking for right now. We still need the hook shot. We still need the Swamp small key, and we actually still need the Meyer big key, even though we're making this dip.
Yeah, and we didn't get the hint this game about what's over here on the Firelock side. Big key.
Well, the big key to the dungeon is in its dungeon.
Not in its vanilla chest, though. It's a little bit off.
Interesting that Shady Force is coming back here to pod. I think he's gonna go back because he left. Yeah, he left. He left Vanilla Big Key chest, and so now that he has the key, I think he's gonna open this up and then mirror out and go for Eastern.
Yeah, this is the same thing that that Mikan did. Just come in, finish off these 2 dungeons. Since you're going to start at the pyramid anyway, after killing Aga, you might as well just come in here and clean this up a little bit. You don't have to rush over to Mire.
No. You've still got to make sure, with the hook shot still being at large, you've still got to be combing the dungeons looking for it. Because unless you know how to hover, well, you need it for Swamp Palace, so hovering doesn't even help you there.
Yeah, well, that first chest in Pod, that's a really quick check with with having all the keys, and you're gonna have to kill this Eastern boss. Oh, is this his first trip into Eastern at all? Huh. I didn't realize that.
It's only Manny is asking a question in chat. What does the term vanilla come from? It comes from the original game. So, as you see, we've randomized all the items in this game. So when we say vanilla, we're saying that's where it is in the original game.
See, I read that as he knows what it meant. He just wanted to know why we use the term vanilla as opposed to like original location. And it comes from flavor. I just thought it comes from like vanilla being plain, original, and boring. But maybe I misread the question. That said, vanilla is actually I like vanilla a lot more than chocolate or strawberry ice cream or most flavors. You can mix it with root beer and get kick-ass root beer floats. I love vanilla ice cream.
It's good. I don't know how I feel about vanilla versus chocolate.
So Mikan breaking out that can of Samaria. We're still in the dark. First chest in Swamp? Is that what we're down to at this point?
Pretty much, because with the Cane of Samaria being locked behind Turtle Rock, it can't be in Turtle Rock. So, yeah, maybe first chest in Swamp.
Where's the Swamp small key going to be?
In Turtle Rock, if that's the case.
In Turtle Rock, all right. So we have the Turtle Rock big key, 3 Turtle Rock small keys. Would you go clear Turtle Rock? I mean, if all you think you're going to get in the first chest of Swamp is that lamp, is there any point in picking it up, or should you just go to Turtle Rock?
I would go to Turtle Rock. With the 3, you've got, well,
you can clear it, everything but the big chest, the big key chest.
See, here's the thing. Either way, it's a time sink to do one or the other. You basically have to do the time sink to basically, Dark World, Light World, Dark World to open up Swamp. And then if you wanted to do Turtle Rock, it's also a time sink because you have to climb the mountain. And if there was something in the vanilla big key chest that you missed, you'd have to climb it anyway. So...
But what I'm thinking though, Jax, is though if we think that the first chest in Swamp is the lamp, then the game wants you to do a double dip of TR and Swamp anyway. So actually getting the lamp isn't really going to help us any. We're assuming that Swamp small key is going to be in Turtle Rock, and we don't need the lamp to get it. So going to Turtle Rock will at least let us do a, a single dip in the swamp potentially. That's my thinking anyway.
Well,
he's heading there.
I think he's heading there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, honestly, at this point, it's one of the only thing that can be in first chest of swamp. Oh, and chat keeps reminding us, Thieves Town big chest. We keep forgetting about that.
Yeah, and this is actually a pyramid fairy check. These are 2 items.
Yeah, lamp can't be there because of pod being one of the 5/6 crystals. So this could only be either hookshot or swamp house small key.
Yeah, or that 4th Turtle Rock small key could also be useful. I don't know what the win-loss record is.
Mikan is 7-3. Shadyforce is 3-8. Why can't it be book? It actually could be book. That would open up the tablets. Could also be another fetch quest.
Yeah, I tend not to think about things like book or mushroom. I mean, because they're just an item that leads to another item. They're not really. In the end, it's essentially just the item you're looking for. But there's our Turtle Rock 4th small key. At this point, it makes sense. Full clear Turtle Rock.
Yep, I agree. Now that we know the 4th one is there, you go to Turtle Rock and you full clear it.
Yeah, just assume that lamp is in your Thieves Town big chest or your first chest in swamp, and see what you get out of Turtle Rock.
We can't completely rule out Thieves Town big chest because hookshot could be there also, or the swamp house small key.
Yeah, the flute gave us access to pick up that Thieves Town small key on Death Mountain, so it's not like that small key was a dark room sequence break. Only it was only the Harris small key from the old man was the sequence break up there. Shadyforce, he's already in TR. He's not doing that pyramid check. Jumped him ahead of Mikan a little bit here. So first chest, not a swamp small key.
Which honestly, at this point, this is gonna be a turning point in the race here, because with only having 3 keys, Shadyforce is not going to check the vanilla big key chest. If hookshot or swamp house small key or something that leads to it is there, that is going to give Mikan a huge advantage.
Yeah, if he wanted to, he could save and continue and hard reset after checking that location. That would let him still kill Trinex, but he'd have to climb the tower all over again. If he's really, really worried about that, it's an option for him to do, but it's a big time sink. Nothing on the right-hand side. It's a nice sink going on him.
Yeah, we do.
Bridge sink.
It's gonna break up here, though, but it was nice while it lasted.
It's nice, a little quick extended high five. So I think that chest. I mean, unless we get the hook shot and the swamp key, that middle chest is going to be a concern. And we checked. That's our 4th location so far, and we've gotten nothing.
Nope. Alright, so Shadyforce is going to grab the pokey key here and leave the door.
Yeah, we are not going to have to wait long to see what that chest is, because Mikan did pick up that additional small key from the pyramid fairy chests, and we'll be getting that item. Can't really say who's ahead at this point. It depends on if there's anything of value in that chest. If there's something, if the hook shot or the swamp key is in that chest, then that will definitely give Mikan a lead over shadyforce, not having to backtrack that. If it's garbage, and they'll probably both end up being in go mode about the same time.
Yeah, that's the thing. The only caveat I'll put to this is that with how much we have to keep track, I don't remember what of all the overworld checks both of them have done, but at this point, it's either Turtle Rock, First Chest and Swamp, or Thieves Town Big Key. If we find nothing in Turtle Rock, at that point, you're almost likely you're going to end up checking both of those locations, and it's pretty much just going to come down to execution. And with how close both of them are, all right, there's another pod key.
Yeah, pod key. Both of them don't need. They're both all done in those dungeons. The Mikan having skipped Spike Cave is the only one that comes to mind immediately.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
I mean, they've done so many locations. I think they're pretty close.
All right.
I thought he was going to skip this for a minute there. It looked like he was going to skip it.
Nope. All right, this is the critical point in the race. Vanilla Big Key chest. Is shadyforce screwed? Survey says
no. And Mikan going for the magic refill. That's a wise decision. So Chet pointing out that Shady also has to finish off Misery Mire to be able to go in the GT. So that I didn't realize, but that's true. There is a whole dungeon difference between the two players. I would say that case that does give Mikan a measurable lead.
I thought shadyforce finished Mire.
I thought he did too, but Chet says no, and the tracker says no. So I'm gonna go with no for now. Last chest and laser bridge compass of Swamp Palace. So I guess it looks. I mean, other than that Thieves Town big chest, which we do keep mentioning is out there. We have Trinex left, and then we have all of Ganon's Tower, and I imagine Mikan will head onto Ganon's Tower. We can find the hook shot and the Swamp Palace small key in that dungeon. 27 locations versus 1. It is a pretty good gamble.
All right, phase 1 of Trinex down for shadyforce.
I don't understand your question, Sarah Zelda. This is all dungeons seed, so they do have to clear all the dungeons, including Swamp Palace. Yeah, very nice Trinex fight. And gotta point out, they both did a nice room on this. Ooh, there's a Smoky the Swamp.
Oh. So, Swamp this is, I would say, is a call-in right now.
Oh, we still don't have the hook shot. I mean, Mikan at least can get into Ganon's tower. That's a better place to find the hook shot than the front of Swamp.
Wait, was Myra pendant?
Myra was a crystal.
And what's... Oh, Eastern was the pendant. I missed that. Sorry. Oh, yeah. Then you're right. That is 7 crystals for Mikan. That hook shot could be in Ganon's tower.
And there's 27 items in GT. That's a pretty good odds you're going to find something there. Shady's doing the pyramid check. Unfortunately, is going to find that 4th Turtle Rock key, and will definitely be thinking, "Wow, was the hook shot in that chest? Is that what I missed out on?" Has the swamp key, so he can dip into Skullwoods. I'm sorry, or Swamp Palace. But that tells us that's more about the lamp, though, because that Swamp Palace key was lamp locked, being on Trinex. So the lamp can't be in anything other than that first chest in Swamp. It's probably Thieves Town. I'm really feeling Thieves Town now. Thieves Town or the first chest in Swamp are the only 2 locations left, I think, that can logically have the lamp.
Pretty much.
So Mikan never did the right side of Desert Palace to get his big key for Ganon's tower. Huh.
You know what? I think Mikan's heading for Ganon's tower, which there are the 22 locations in the basement. That's the most item-dense play Mikan has right now.
Yeah, shadyforce making the smart choice here to full clear Myers. Gonna have to do those dark rooms, but this is gonna give him his last crystal. After this, he has the GT big key, so he might do GT or he might dip in the swamp without the hook shot. It's no way to predict that play. So Mikan does know that where the GT big key is, but he's still missing the small key of Desert Palace, which I don't remember where that was. Does chat remember where that was? So he could spend a lot of time looking for that small key.
Yeah, he basically just bonks over to... And see, this is the thing this is the thing I keep forgetting about Ganon's tower, is that without that hook shot, it's not all 22 locations. It's basically the 6 here on the right side, that one that he could bonk to in the double firebar room, actually tile room, so that's 7, plus the Bob's chest and Ice Armos.
You can get the 4 Stalfos chests by bonking, I believe. You just can't get to the fire bars and the fire snakes. But where was that Desert Palace small key? That wasn't the spike cave item, was it?
No, that was Silver's.
That was all right. Willard points out the Stalfos rooms required the bomb jump. Okay, I thought you could bonk over there, but I stand corrected, so thank you, Willard, for that.
I think you can bonk in, but you can't bonk out.
Alright, so nobody knows where the desert small key was.
Did Mikan ever do catfish? I remember there being a key at catfish, but I don't remember if it was small or big.
I don't think he did. That might be it. Yeah, wow. All right. Yeah, okay. I've got some disagreements, but that might be it.
Chad is saying it was the desert big key, not the desert small key.
Hmm. This one is insane. So we have Bob's chest, and then the 3 chests behind Ice Armor's left, and I think that's all we can get here without the hook shot or bomb jumps and hovers. Well, shadyforce, he's finishing up Meyer. He's just got Vitreous left.
Alright, piece of heart, 10 arrows, big 20, hook shot is in another castle.
Could be hammer pegs, because Mikan, he did the purple chest and the Smith's chain all before getting the hammer, and then never went back there. I don't think he went back there. He's doing spike now, so this will be silvers. Yeah,
this will be silvers. You're right, I did forget. That was the case.
All right, no, I forgot too.
Yeah.
Chat. I'm living and dying by chat here.
If Mikan remembers that, he forgot hammer pegs, that also might be incentive to go check the Thieves Town big chest.
Yeah, it depends on what he checks first. I would imagine he would check hammer pegs first because it's much quicker. Find that he can get the Ganon's Tower big key. But all that he can do in Ganon's Tower would just be the big chest, so that's not worth another trip up here. He's dipping in this, hoping to find the hook shot in Swamp Palace. So we have the whole first half of Swamp we can do that. This, if the hook shot's here, this will get him his pendant, but he's still gonna have to find that desert small key. Actually, no, he won't need to. No, he will, because yeah, for the Ganon's Tower big key.
The thing is, at this point, the lamp and hookshot are still at large. One of those, well, at this point, you have to think either the lamp or the hookshot is in that first chest. Well, no, it would have to be the lamp, because the Swamp Small Key was on Trinex. The Seed had to expect that you had the lamp before you could do that. Right. So lamp is probably either Thieves Town big chest or Swamp chest.
Right. So we're gonna see this right now. And then if it's not here, then it's in Thieves Town.
It's in Thieves Town big chest.
Thieves Town.
Which means the hook shot has to be here.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty good. That's very good news for Mikan. If he does go back to hammer pegs to get the desert key, he'll at least know that he can completely skip that Thieves Town big chest, assuming that he's kept track of things better than the commentators and 90% of chat has. So assuming that the hook shot has to be here, Shady Force is coming in here, and he's going to get that, and he has the GT big key, so he can go directly to GT and straight up. I'd say that definitely gives him the lead at this point.
Where was the Thieves Town small key again?
The Thieves Town small key was that was the old. No, that wasn't the old man. That was Spectacle Rock.
The old yeah, the old man in Spectacle Rock, which gets to
Old man was the Harris small key, I think, and then Spectacle Rock Cave was Thieves Town big key.
Right.
Or small key rather.
Our Dark World access was Titan's Mitts.
Yeah.
So actually Ravis 10 is right. It actually could also be that the hook shot is in the thief. Well, we just saw it. Hook shot's not here either. So it has to be Thieves Town Big Chest. And then it's entirely possible that the lamp is either further in Swamp Palace or in Hookshot Cave.
Wait, so Mikan got locked out. How did he get locked out of Swamp so fast?
Because he doesn't have the hook shot. It wasn't there.
Oh, and he had the hint already. The skip left side.
Right, and that's
all right.
And that's exactly what Ravis 10 was saying in chat. It's got to be in Thieves Town Big Chest, and then the lamp either has to be further in Swamp, or could be on Sahasrara, since that is the green pendant, or in Hookshot Cave.
Do you remember earlier in commentator chat when I was saying I really want to do this with a Kokam who knows Key Sanity? This is why.
So there's the Desert small key, so that will get Mikan to the GT big key.
That's good news for Mikan regardless, because he absolutely needs that. But he's floating back to, hopefully back to 3, back to that was a miss flute.
Yeah, that was a miss flute. He's going to 6 for the GT big key.
All right. Well, all this is going to do is just, I hope he doesn't decide to go back up to Ganon's tower.
Which is what Shady Force is doing.
Is there any reason why the hookshot couldn't be upstairs in Ganon's tower?
That's what Ravis 10 is also is saying. That it's also a possibility that it's lamp in Thieves Town Big Chest. And then you climb up, and then you basically climb up further into Ganon's tower, and that's where it is.
Yeah, I thought we figured out the lamp had to be that Thieves Town Big Chest just because so many lamp locked locations. We skipped so many lamp locked locations, and that's all that was available. The lamp can't be in Ganon's tower. It can't be in Swamp Palace.
The problem is this is all convoluted, and this is the one problem with Key Sanity. There is so much stuff you have to keep track of in your head. Like, I'm having a hard time remembering, like, okay, what was where and what needed the lamp and what didn't, like...
No, the lamp, I don't know which pendant was the green pendant.
It's Swamp.
Oh, no, then yeah, the lamp can't be there because the key was lamp locked. It was on Trinex.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
So Mikan, I am like 95% sure right now that Mikan is going to get the lamp. But Shady Force is going to get the hook shot in the upstairs of Ganon's tower. The hook shot could also be in the big chest of Ganon's tower.
Well, one way or another, we're about to find out, because Shady Force having that big key.
I'm having fun.
One way or another, we're about to get our answer. Mikan's heading for the Thieves Town Big Chest. Shady Force will most likely run the gauntlet. And I would say if Hookshot is in the GT upper levels, Shady Force is going to be in an advantage.
Yeah, I don't think that the lamp could be in Hookshot Cave. I think the hookshot is lamp locked. I mean, we'll find out soon, but I'm pretty sure. Either way, I'm having fun.
Yep. All right. So here's the big moment. Thieves Town Big Chest, lamp, hookshot. It's got to be one of these two. Survey says lamp.
Lamp. All right. Half of us called that one.
Okay, so that means the hookshot has to be in Ganon's Tower then, because Hookshot Cave, you can't get there right now.
Right. Yeah, the hookshot can't be in the back of Hookshot Cave. That one we can agree on.
Nor can it be in the back of Skullwoods.
Right, so it could be in the GT Big Chest, because we can get that by going around the right-hand side. And I'm sure Shadyforce will probably check that next. That'll be the next thing he does. Or it could be upstairs. So I don't know where Mikan is. Mikan's probably making the same play here, going back to GT.
Yeah, he's...
Unfortunately, Mikan's done everything on the downstairs that he can get to except that big chest. So that if he does the whole right side again to check the big chest, that'll be a big time sink.
And the thing is, you would want to check the GT big chest first, because if you can run the risk that it's in the upper levels, but if you're wrong, that's a much bigger time sink to have to climb the gauntlet again.
Yeah, and Shadyforce he skipped it.
No, he hasn't skipped it yet. He's gonna do Ice Armos, get the 3 chests, and then he can go.
Yeah.
As long as he doesn't mirror, he can get it. After he goes up the stairs.
I know what you're saying. I usually see it checked first on the way up there, but yeah, this works too. I should know that you can get it this way, because I always get the red mail when I play NMG. I'm a coward. No, Ravis, we're not doing the what's the most convoluted thing we can find. We're already at that point.
All right, moment of truth. GT big chest.
No.
All right, Mikan is running. Forgot that is not going for GT big chest. He's just going for the gauntlet. This is tense right now.
This is so tense. Shadyforce is going for this one bonkable location. God, mushroom. I mean, that is just so sadistic. Time to go upstairs for Shadyforce as well. And if the hookshot is in these 4 chests and not on the mushroom, then that's going to shift the advantage back over to Mikan's side.
If it's not up here, you have to hope Mikan remembers to go back down and check the big chest. Which I would think he would have to, unless, like, the book is up here. Because at that point, you're out of locations.
Even if the book is up here, you wouldn't mirror out at that point to check ether. It's faster just to climb back up. Wow, this is just an insane seed. And the thing is, like, I thought that hard mode would be a big factor, but this is all key sanity. Like, there was a little bit of early game difficulty with the low health, but this is just all normal key sanity logic that's causing our problems at the moment.
Yep. The funny thing is about this, like, I would also say that this also has to do all dungeons, but it even doesn't have... It even doesn't, because if this was just a defeat Ganon seed, like, the hookshot could still be here because of Swamp Palace being appended.
Absolutely. And you know, this is a case where even if you can, you know, hover the Moldarm 2 room, you still need that hookshot because you have to kill Argus.
I mean, this is the one of the few times I would say if you can hover, it's a huge advantage because you can then finish Aga 2 and you don't have to reclimb the gauntlet because you still would have to go down for hookshot. But here we go, mini Helmasaur room. We got 2 chests in here. $50.
Come on.
Ether.
All right. 2 left.
All right, we got the 1 chest before Trolldorm 2. What do we got here? It's the hookshot!
Hookshot! Oh, yes.
2 hours, 6 minutes, 42 seconds. Mikan is in go mode.
Go mode and only a few rooms ahead of Shadyforce. Both of them have to kill Aga 2. Both of them have to go back and finish Swamp Palace. Wow.
This seed. This seed!
Yeah, you do not get seeds like this when you're just doing standard mode. I'm starting to see some appeal to Humanity. Not to play it, but to watch it.
Alright. We got 1 shot in Aga 2 so far. Didn't get anything there.
Yeah, he's not getting very cooperative patterns here. This is a nice one. That should be a triple.
Yeah. There's your double. That's Aga 2 down.
And Shadyforce, having checked that big chest, in his mind, he's got to be thinking he's down to... he doesn't have the lamp, so he's like, three chests, but he found them.
Oh, thank you, Mikan. Thank you.
We're all laughing, man. This is great.
Alright, so now this is just the go mode of Swamp Palace, and then it'll be time for the big pig. Alright, with this insane of a seed, major props to both Shadyforce and Mikan for this, or Mikan for this. This has been quite the entertaining show today. Please be sure to give both Shadyforce and Mikan follows on Twitch. They certainly deserve it for this madness. Alright, so that's Aga 2 down for Shadyforce.
There's not much to do in this go mode.
Nope. Although this race is not over yet. Just because Mikan has the lead right now, unfortunate Ganon hug and unfortunate fall, this race is not over.
Yeah, I mean, this is hard difficulty. They only have 10 hearts. Blue Mail. It would take a mistake on Mikan's part, but the difference is not that big. Fortunately, they don't have to do anything else in the tower. They can just save and quit from the Dark World, and that will put them right back on the pyramid with like half health. At least they'll have full magic. Mikan did take a hit there on the Argus, down to 2.5 hearts.
He's going to get a health refill here, which will help.
Yeah, he's going to lose it, though, during the save and quit.
Alright. And the map of Swamp Palace was on Argus. That doesn't matter, though, because all the dungeons are done, so for Mikan, it is time for the big pig.
All right, that's good to know, Mikan.
Oh. All right, 12 sword spins for sword slashes for phase 1 and phase 2.
That's 12, I think.
All right, that's
potions
phase
he's got
3.
left. He's down to one hit.
He has to be really careful here, because he needs to save that magic for the torch.
He also can't take another Ganon hug. Oh, there we go.
He's got the blue potion, so he should be fine here. And now that we're in Ganon, silver mode arrows are activated. So did we find him in the Dark World? Yep, here's one in your face.
Nice torch clutch with the fire rod.
Only gonna get one here, so 2, that should set up for a double. Just have to be careful, and that will do it.
Wow, GG's to Mikan. As shadyforce falls into the Ganon fight. So close.
So close, and yet so far. Because with that walk through the door, Mikan finishes with an official SRL time of 2 hours, 14 minutes, and 10 seconds. Spam those GGs in chat.
Shadyforce also taking a hit there. I don't think I think you could take a hit from the bats with 3 hearts, but just not a hug. Yeah, Mikan is in the bathroom right now. 20-minute delayed bathroom break. Yeah, there we go. Shadyforce also gets the torch glitch with the fire rod. It's really hard to time them. They both got it. Is impressive.
Yep. Shadyforce is at 2. Or actually 3, because that will do it.
That does it.
And after walking through the door, Shadyforce finishes with an official SRL time of 2 hours, 15 minutes, 36 seconds. GG's to Shady.
Yeah, GG Shadyforce. That was a super fun and headache-inducing race to watch.
All right, so we have Mikan waiting in chat. We're gonna see if we can get Shady in here, and we'll bring him in together.
And we do not know if Shadyforce needed that bathroom break or not. Will forever remain the mystery that it should be, but here we go. Mikan and Shadyforce. GG's, you guys have had 20 minutes to calm down. Has that been enough?
Yeah, I even got to go to the bathroom too. It was great.
I mean, where to begin with this seed?
I had fun. I am so glad I skipped the Gans Tower Big Chest, because if I would have gone for that, I would not have won. Like, big time.
So I'm sure Shady told you that the mushroom, well, or you saw in the restream that the mushroom was there.
I did, and I had a really good laugh about that in IRC. When I saw him pick that up, I was like, oh wow, I'm glad I didn't find that.
It was funny, I was can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you just fine.
I was in IRC saying, Mikan, what are you doing going upstairs without getting the big chest? And then immediately it dawned on me that I actually went upstairs and I forgot to do tile room. So if the hookshot was there, I would have been boned as well.
Man, that seed was so intense. That hookshot, like I don't know. You guys were obviously running it, so I was having a hard time trying to keep track of the logic in terms of where the lamp could have been. That it just, like, that had to have been brutal for you guys trying to keep track of everything.
Yeah, the lamp was really killer. I saw that Shady didn't get it at all, but I think in my mind that Thieves Town Big Chest was my last location other than upstairs GT, and I figured it was worth going for because it could have been the hook shot, right, leading to, in my mind, I guess it could have been the hook shot leading to the lamp in Hookshot Cave or something. So I did have to go get that. I did plan on skipping it completely, but I think at that point I just kind of wanted to gamble that, I don't know, whatever, I found it.
Both of you early on saw that the King of Samaria was on the Lumberjack ledge. And it looked like for a while, you guys took a while to go to Agate Tower, even though you had the fire rod early. Did it ever cross your mind to just go ahead and get it over with, or were you guys waiting until you almost had to do it?
Well, we needed the second small Agate Tower key, and I think almost as soon as I picked up that second small key, I went to get the cane.
As soon as I got the second Castle Tower key, I was trying to find a dark map for the Castle Tower, because I hadn't done that before. I'm really glad I had the fire rod. I did fly to Mire before picking up the cane, opened Mire, then remembered, oh yeah, I should probably get the cane just in case the big key is in here. Thankfully it was.
Yeah, we did see that.
Yeah, that Thieves Town Big Chest, that was a mystery for us the entire game, and ultimately, after a lot of work, we narrowed down that the lamp had to be there. But it's just ironic because both of you guys missed that. Mikan actually had the small key but didn't have the hammer, and Shadyforce had the hammer but not the small key. So neither of you guys could get it, but for different reasons. And ended up being the big mystery of this race?
I think, man, I got that hammer super late. It was crazy. Soul Woods is like one of my last spots I could go to. I'm just trying to think of what I would have done if I had gotten that early. Obviously, I would have had the GT big key really early. I probably still would have ended up double dipping GT. I think just gambling that it, you know, something in there led to the hook elsewhere, which I think would have been just the mushroom. I don't think there was really anything else major in there.
Yeah, this would have been another good seed if you could, if you were able to hover, because you could go to GT without the hook shot, knowing you can still full clear it, and then fall back to dipping into swamp for afterwards. Whereas I don't hover. I don't know. I'm guessing Mikan doesn't either, so we can have to search more for the hook shot beforehand.
Yeah, I don't know if that would have helped you too much in this race. You might have actually ended up checking extra locations in Ganon's Tower. With the hookshot being so late in the game, it kind of forced you into finding it. It really was. It was fun to see it finally show up, and we did not know where else it could have been at that point.
Yeah, from my perspective, there were still a couple of locations left, so I was actually quite relieved when I saw the hook shot there, because I knew it could have been the mushroom spot or the Thieves Down big chest, which I had skipped.
What was I gonna say? That was fun. That's what I was gonna say. No, I had something more meaningful to say, and I'm trying to remember what it was. I don't know, dude. Key sanity is wild. Oh, yeah, now I remember. So, do we know like the probability of the hookshot actually being up there? I don't know if that's like rarer than Moon Pearl Pit or not.
I don't, to be honest.
It's not the first time I've had hookshot upstairs in Ganon's Tower. I think it does happen from time to time. It must be more likely than Moon Pearl Pit, for sure.
That makes a lot of sense.
But it's always scary because it's such a gamble. You have to climb the whole tower before you get to those 3 chests. So I really enjoyed the seed. I don't know what it was about it, but I actually really enjoyed running this.
Yeah, I had fun. I like how when I walked in the GT with the big key finally, I thought, you know, if I go for that big chest, even if it's the hook shot, I'm going to lose. So let's just go upstairs and make this really stupid gamble. And I'm really glad it worked out because that's exactly what happened.
Certainly did. Man, I'm trying to think of what other questions to ask you guys, but I mean, this is essentially like, if you want an example of how key sanity works, I think this seed was perfect because you had a lot of dungeons that like you could get into, but without the key, like Swamp House, for example, there was a long time where you guys couldn't get in until you got to Drynex.
Oh, one thing I didn't do, I didn't go talk to the bomb shop guy, so I have no idea what my 5 and 6 crystals were, so I like didn't know, man, can the lamp actually be there? Can the hookshot actually be there? I had no idea, so I just went and checked.
They were Heron.
That's quite funny. I had no idea either. I didn't even mark them. I just, at some point, I opened my menu and I saw 2 red crystals and I thought, oh, let's go check Pyramid Ferry.
That's what I did too.
Yeah, that one was a big gamble because we actually saw Mikan do the Pyramid Ferry before Turtle Rock, and he had all 4 of those small keys. Where Shady, you had to end up skipping the chest, and then immediately after Turtle Rock, you picked up that 4th key.
I know that was a little bit scary, but that's the gamble. That's the same kind of gamble as the big chest. You got to do that. It would be silly to burn my small key elsewhere.
So, Willard J. Bradley pointing out in chat that this puts you 1 win away, Mikan, from a guaranteed bracket position, and your next race starts in 35 minutes. Yeah,
I've actually already hit go live, and I'm just waiting for the delay to catch up. I was a little concerned when this seed started going, you know, over 2 hours and then over 2:10. But I think we're still gonna barely be able to start in time.
Well, I'll get you this last question, and then we'll get you out of here. With 4 races to go, how are you feeling trying to get that one last win?
Fairly great. This is actually, gosh, I had an all dungeon key sanity yesterday. I have one today, and I think I have another one tomorrow. Like, 2 of you picked this against me, and one of them was randomly chosen. And The one yesterday was really fast, like it was barely 150. I feel like that's fast for all dungeons keep standing. And this one, what the heck was this?
Yeah, I had one of these yesterday as well against Super Taylor, and it was even slower than this one. I think Super Taylor won in 2 hours 20, and I had a nightmare. So,
oh wow,
this is not the slowest key sanity seed I've done this week.
Well, with the hookshot location, it certainly feels like it, but I guess that's enough.
Well, I think we'll go ahead and start wrapping it up here. So, Mikan, you can get to your race. Unfortunately, that's not going to be restreamed, so we won't be able to see it. But GG's to both you and shadyforce on this race. Man, it was quite the killer, and good luck to you on your next race coming up here in a few minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. GG's to both of you guys. There are links in Twitch chat to check out both of their channels. Actually, sorry, the bot's down, so no links in Twitch chat. But you can find them. Mikan and shadyforce, they deserve your follows after this insanely fun race to watch. Mikan's, like I said, Mikan's next race not being streamed, but there is a stream at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. That's 30 minutes on ALTTP Randomizer. That one is a swordless race between someone 325 and Zero Rush. An hour after that, on Speed Gaming 5, we have a nightmare race. If you thought this one was hard, we have an all dungeons hard key sanity race, but also swordless between Blaine and Andy. So wow, I would not want to be Blaine or Andy for that one.
Glad you didn't make me do swordless. That would have sucked.
I've avoided swordless this whole tournament, so I just have 2 more random games left. So we'll see what comes out of them.
I'll also hype that up a little bit. That race between Blaine and Andy, because man, Group G is pretty close. All of the runners in Group G are still alive, but Blaine and Andy are currently first and second in the standings in Group G.
Yeah, they're both top players in their groups, and even they know what they're getting into. A swordless hard key sanity race. Yeah, that one's going to be hype. I'll promote that one. Speed Gaming 5, 8:30 p.m. EDT. That's 90 minutes from now. Definitely tune in for that one. On a closing note, because we don't have the bot, I can't do the bang C, but thank you to the Speed Gaming Network for hosting this restream today. This has been a really fun race. Our tracker Jixon doing a really great job answering questions in chat, and tracking key sanity is always an extra level of difficulty, staying on top of everything. So great job, Jixon. And a special thanks to Jex Referee for joining me here. I would not have been able to get through this key sanity race without Jex's professional experience there. So thank you so much. And that's it for me, Tiru. The last words can go to you, Jex.
Well, I will certainly thank everyone in chat, like Ravis10 and the other runners, because I have some knowledge, but I don't have nearly as much knowledge as some of the other runners that we had in chat. So thank you for helping fill in the gaps, even for what I had. So with that, again, thanks to both Mikan and shadyforce. For Jixon, Tiru, I'm Jex Refi. We'll see you next mission.